Hi, I'm Troy, and I just watched Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man. Not even a year ago, I watched all 6 seasons of the TV show in less than a month, and I fell in love with it. It is truly one of the best shows I have ever seen. But now, we got the movie, and I've been waiting for this shit. So, here we fucking go.
We're the Peaky fucking Blinders, mate. Whoa. Tommy Shelby, Birmingham. The Peaky fucking Blinders.
How you like my Arthur impression? It was pretty shit, right? So, 7 years have passed since we last saw Tommy Shelby. He's older, he's grayer, he's writing a book, and he's haunted by the ghosts of his past. And if you're thinking, yeah, I can fix him, no, you can't. You cannot. Don't even try. I'm sorry, baby. I know it's Cillian Murphy, but please don't do that to yourself. Tommy Shelby is a Romani gypsy with a unique gift of seeing the souls of loved ones that have since passed. At this point in his life, practically all of his family is dead, and Tommy never leaves his house. He's isolated himself completely from the outside world as World War II rages on outside. No one has been able to drag him back to life. The only person working for him from the old days is our fucking boy Johnny Dogs, which we fucking love him. When he showed up in this, I got so happy. It made me smile. I miss this man. And his only living sibling is his younger sister, Ada. His brother, Arthur, has been killed in the time between the end of the show and the beginning of this movie. Later, we learn that Tommy himself killed Arthur in a fit of booze and anger, with his motivation being,
"'Cause I wanted to be free of him."
Which is some bullshit if you ask me. But they couldn't bring the actor back due to reasons, so I understand why they had to kill him off, especially since he was still living at the end of season 6. It just sucks. I loved Arthur. I loved what he meant for Tommy, and just to the whole story of Peaky Blinders, so it's a shame for real that they just had to kill him off like that. Anyway, back to the story. One night in November 1940, a weapons factory full of women celebrating their co-worker's birthday is bombed by the Nazis during the Blitz. The following day, a new generation of Peaky Blinders, led by Tommy's firstborn and illegitimate son from his first marriage, named Duke, raid the blown-up factory for ammunition and whatever else they can find for themselves. These new Peaky Blinders are just as violent and ruthless as the previous generation, but unlike Tommy, Duke has no allegiance to anyone but himself. So, as proof of this, Duke has a meeting with an Englishman in league with the Nazis, and he agrees to aid them in a plot of introducing fake bills into the English economy in order to destabilize it to help Germany win the war.
The world don't give a fuck about me, and I don't give a fuck about the world.
Ada, Tommy's sister, as I mentioned before, she arrives at his country house in an attempt to convince Tommy to come back to Birmingham and stop his son from doing this crazy shit. But Tommy doesn't listen, and so Ada has to go back to Birmingham without Mr. Shelby. Birmingham. Ada has to go back to Birmingham. Later that night, a woman named Callow arrives at the country house and Tommy greets her at gunpoint. She tells him that she's the sister of his first wife, Zelda, which makes her the aunt of his son, Duke. Tommy allows her inside and they hook up and do some mystical shit. She tells Tommy that if he were to return to Birmingham, stop his son, it would bring him the peace that he's been searching for after being tortured all this time by the deaths of his loved ones. After they spend the night together, in the morning, Tommy is finally returned enough to his former self and seen enough signs to put on the flat cap and trench coat and get back to Small Heath with Johnny Dogs driving. Small Heath is a part of Birmingham. If you hadn't seen the show, Small Heath is basically like their little neighborhood where Peaky Blinders they run the shit. That's their hood, pretty much. Duke is told by the Nazi that he must show further allegiance by killing his aunt Ada. Having just brutally murdered a traitor to the fascists, Duke agrees. But when it comes time for him to do it, Duke can't. Instead, at the very last second, he chooses to warn her and tell her to run away, but not a second after, right in front of her son. And then as he's on his way back into town, fucking Tommy stops on the road in horror as he sees the ghost of Ada staring back at him under a black umbrella. He's too late. He knows that she's dead and he's fucking pissed. But so that's basically the first 30 fucking minutes of this movie. Maybe 35. I had to, at this point, I had to pause and I had to pace back and forth in my little shoebox apartment. I almost said apartment. I fucking love Ada. Okay? she didn't even want to be a part of the family criminal shit. She just had no choice because her whole family was a part of it. She was just trying to do the right thing. I've had time to sit with the shock, so it's not as shocking as the first time it happened. But the first time, I had for a full 10 minutes, that shit was on pause. I was pacing back and forth. And then when you hear her son, which when we last saw him, he was a little kid at the end of the show. So seeing him grown as fuck, and he just witnessed his own mother get shot in the fucking head. And then on top of that, she didn't just it wasn't like one shot in the brain. It was one shot in the brain, and then he fucking triple tapped her. Fucking Emil Blonsky, fucking abomination from the Marvel movies, goddamn triple tapped her. It pissed me off. And then on top of that, because Tommy can see the dead people in his family while he's on his way, finally listening to his sister after some crazy mystical woman had to go to his house and tell him to listen. She's dead. All of Tommy's bullshit from the past finally caught up to his sister. Got her killed too. Like, it was so fucking... It's great writing because that pissed me off, got me ready to see the rest of this story. But I fucking loved Ada. She didn't deserve this shit. So, his sister's murder gives Tommy even more motivation to go after and stop the Nazi plot. But, of course, upon arriving back into Small Heath, he is welcomed by the people who recognize him, blows up a dude with a grenade who says, "Who the fuck is Tommy Shelby?" Goes and beats his son's ass in a fucking pig farm. Just knocked some sense into the fucking boy for getting his aunt killed. But then he's like, I want to help. So now they agree to work together to help avenge Ada and to stop, the Nazis. Because, yeah, Nazis are bad, in case you forgot. The rest of the film just follows Tommy and Duke's complicated relationship as they enact the plan to stop the counterfeit money from going into the economy, as well as getting the man that killed Ada and killing him. Duke was told by Callow, his aunt on his mother's side, that he would help bring his father peace, and she gives him a bullet with Tommy's name on it. She also told Tommy that this conflict would bring him the peace that he's been looking for. So the whole movie, you're waiting to see them get revenge on Ada, even though it's not really a revenge story, but like, I was fucking pissed that Ada got shot, so I wanted him fucking... But at the end, you know that Tommy's gonna die, because he's just been a shell of who he once was, just living and hiding in fucking isolation. So now he needs one last hurrah, needs to actually pass on the torch, because at the end of the show, he like, the reason why Duke is in charge is because he gave them the mantle, the Peaky Blinder shit to his son, but he didn't raise him, he barely knew the kid. So now he comes back into the kid's life, properly gives him stuff, but then he has to shoot him off? I don't know. Hang on. We're getting ahead of ourselves. In the ending conflict, Tommy kills the English Nazi, but not before he's shot twice in the gut. And as he bleeds, Tommy tells Duke,
I am a horse. I do it for a horse.
Bringing his father the peace he was promised by Callow. Duke shoots his father once more, killing him. His final words being, they give Tommy a traditional Romani Gypsy funeral and burn his body in a wagon. And that's it. That's the Immortal Man. Yeah, apparently they're making a spin-off sequel show about Duke and what happens afterward, even though they recast Barry isn't in it. It's some other dude. I don't give a shit anyway. I liked this movie. Yeah, it wasn't perfect, and rather than the stop the Nazi type of story that we got, I would have rather had more of a thrilling criminal element story similar to what the show had. But regardless, what we got was still good, and it was a fantastic conclusion to Tommy Shelby's story. And I think you could watch it without seeing the show and could possibly still enjoy it, but you should definitely watch the show first in order for anything in this movie to hit as hard as it should. Like, for example, Ada's death would have been easy for me to shrug off if I had never known anything that she had gone through prior to the movie. That's why it was such a big effect for me. But if I had just seen that for the first time and she gets shot in the head, oh no, that's his sister, but I have no actual real connection with her. So, in order for her death to mean anything in that moment, you kind of do need the 6 seasons of the show to back it up. So basically, if you want this movie to mean anything, you gotta watch the show that came first. All in all, I fuck with this shit. It made me want to rewatch the show, actually, because, God, I fucking love the Peaky Blinders universe. It's so fucking good. Like, I'm sad that I'll never get to see Cillian Murphy as Tommy Shelby ever again, but I will cherish the time that I had with his eyes. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 cigarette rating. Like and subscribe. Bye.
Dun 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 dun.